does anybody know what century we're in? Because apparently we're now of the age where calling for blasphemy laws in England is considered normal.
Last year, the United Nations Human Rights Council adopted a resolution condemning the desecration of religious texts, including the Quran, despite opposition from the previous government. Acts of such mindless desecration only serve to fuel division and hatred within our society. Will the Prime Minister commit to introducing measures to prohibit the desecration of all religious texts and the prophets of the Abrahamic religions?
Labour MP Tahir Ali there speaking in the Commons today. So what does the Prime Minister respond with?
Well, can I agree with him that desecration is awful and I think should be condemned across the House? We are, as I said before, Mr Speaker, committed to tackling all forms of hatred and division, including, of course, Islamophobia in all of its forms. Thank you.
Come on, Prime Minister, a mealy-mouthed reply if I saw one. Why is the PM treading on eggshells over an issue that should be clear as day? I also wonder whether Sakir has as much concern about offending religions than he does about the poor Batley schoolteacher who's still in hiding from an Islamic mob who want to deal with him. Talking of mobs, it was revealed yesterday that a French schoolteacher across the Channel was beheaded following rumours he showed his class caricatures of the Prophet Muhammad, and he actually never did such a thing. Another pupil lied about it, and he paid with his life. So forgive me for thinking the last thing we need in this country is more religious and racial division. Our political editor, Christopher Hope, clarified this evening that the government is not considering blasphemy laws, as far as he understands anyway. Well, hooray! Thank God for that, because for a moment there, I was beginning to think that we were starting to have not just two-tier policing and not just two-tier justice, but two-tier religion too. Because the truth is, no religion is immune from criticism or ridicule, and blasphemy laws are an all-out attack on free speech. Why should it be OK for Ant and Dec to mock Christianity on I'm a Celebrity all week, but a red line is drawn for other religions?
The start of a new day now, and first to wake up was the Reverend Richard.
And lo, the night before there had been darkness, and a plague of insects had been visited upon him. But he had receiveth a small bounty that did taste of cheese, and now, praise be, he did rise again.
So basically you're saying Richard had a fright, got some crisps, then had a sleep and got out of bed?
Yes, my child.
So maybe we should just stop taking ourselves so seriously. The world might start to feel a better place. Let's get the thoughts now of my panel. My panel tonight, Wake Up Ben, Director of Popular Conservatives, Mark Littlewood. There you are, Mark. Businessman and activist, Adam Brooks, and the broadcaster, Judita De Silva. Get the coffees in, please. Welcome back, panel. What do you make of this, Adam? It's for me, watching this clip today in Parliament, I was just stunned. Yeah. And I was also stunned. If that question wasn't depressing, what depressed me even more was Keir Starmer's response.
Yeah, look, Keir Starmer is known for not answering a question, and he's certainly not going to answer one that possibly might offend 3 million of his potential voters. He's clever like that. He diverts from the truth. Look, this Labour MP asking for blasphemy laws is terrifying. It's 2024. What is even more terrifying is that we have non-crime hate incidents, which I think will be dished out for maybe people criticising people's religion. Look, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in God. I never have. But I respect people's right to have any beliefs that they have. But I must be able to criticise that. I criticise the Church of England a lot, especially over the abuse of young children over many decades. I criticise Justin Welby more than any religious figure. I'm not called Christianophobic. So this label of Islamophobic is just banding about for anyone that does want to criticise a religious figure, maybe in Islam, or maybe an aspect of that religion that they do not like. It's a scary prospect, and it's something we need to clamp down on.
Judita, what's your thoughts? What's your intuition, really, on blasphemy laws?
My thing with blasphemy laws is that it has to be very clear. Based on what the MP actually said, is about the desecration of holy texts. And I completely believe that that should be respected, because I was born and raised Catholic, and the fact that the religious text is a central tenet for what the religion is built around. It's sacred. It's important. It's the binding formula of where the faith is found. For you to desecrate that, you're striking at the heart of what people believe in. That is what is sacred, and that is what should be protected.
But that shouldn't be a criminal offence.
No, it should be. Because
so you think somebody should be hauled to court for ripping up a Bible?
For the same reason, that the same outrage I have when we learnt in history about the Nazi Party burning Jewish books and burning Jewish art. It's the same mentality where you're trying to essentially destroy a people by striking at what they believe in. If you don't govern yourself by a faith, you cannot understand the way those people who do live their lives.
It's not the same as if you forcibly burn somebody else's book that you don't own, that's a criminal offence. But if you want to buy a copy of the Bible and burn it, that's up to you. It might be rather uncouth
behaviour. The Bible is not just a book. That's what I'm trying to say. People tend to judge it. They judge it with the pragmatism of not living your life by faith. In my view,
you do not have a right to not be offended in Britain. And we've touched on Islam here, but let's just think of some of the immediate things that would happen. I presume the Book of Mormon has to come off stage and never be shown again. That offends the Mormon. South Park will not be able to be broadcast on television.
That's why I said about the margin.
I'm old enough to remember when Monty Python's The Life of Brian was not shown on television. Channel 4 finally said, to hell with it, we'll risk breaking the blasphemy laws. This is absolutely absurd. Now,
I'm with Adam.
One doesn't need to be uncouth about it.
You can criticise a religion, but I'm talking about the preservation of the sanctity of a sacred text. I believe that, there should be free speech. If I disagree with something, I have a right to say it.
What do you think the crime should be for burning a Bible? What should the effect? How many years in prison?
They said Denmark and Sweden had a blasphemy law that said 1 to 2 years.
That's outrageous.
So, I'm saying that reaction is perfect, because the fact that you have in the back of your mind that would be the consequence for doing such a thing is a deterrent for doing it. You can criticise the religion, do not desecrate the text.
Would you call Ant-and-Dec up to the magistrates'
court?
No,
I wouldn't, because they haven't burnt a Bible.
So, one second.
But they're making jokes about Christianity, they're mocking Christianity.
Christianity. I've got feelings about Christianity is the most disrespected religion of them all. I believe that the blasphemy law should protect all faiths equally. No one is more special than the other. But I am saying that it is about the respect and preservation of a sacred text, which is a central binding principle and object of an entire faith.
Adam?
You can criticise me without burning a Bible. You can crack a joke without burning a Bible.
You would put someone in prison for 1 or 2 years for burning a Bible, but we are letting paedophiles that have got 1,000 images, some of which show babies being raped, and they walk free. That is absolute insanity.
I think that is abhorrent. Paedophiles should be buried underneath the jail. That is a standard. So that is a false equivalent, because what we're talking about now, again, I say you cannot judge people who live by a faith when you don't recognise one. It's a different way of living. And I'm saying, as a Catholic, for instance, when I was getting my first communion and you have to go to catechism, in a bench full of all our students, I put my Bible on the floor, and I swear the priest leaped out with the power of God, about to kill me, and said, you cannot do that, because to put the Bible on the floor is like putting your consideration for God on the floor.
I think you should be able
That is how you live. But I'm saying that respect that you do not understand the way someone else lives, and respect that which they respect.
No religion should have any effect on my life. I'm an atheist, so no other religion should control my life or curtail my life in any which way, and that's how it must stay.
Why do you consider it curtailing to say that don't burn the book that governs my faith?
No,
why is that a problem?
But as Mark said, you should have the right to be able to buy a Bible or any religious text.
It scares me that one would be motivated.
Respect and courtesy are appropriate ways to behave, but failing to behave in that way should not be a criminal offence.
Again, because you're failing to see the measure by which faith governs people's lives. It's a different level of text. It's not like going to get Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet.
By, let's say, a political ideology.
Or a football club.
It's like the separation of church and state. There is an understanding that there are different principles that govern both. That is why they should bleed into one another.
Lots of things are important to different types of people. Generally speaking, if you want to act courteously, respect them. And, I wouldn't go around burning Bibles, but it's not a legal obligation to have to respect other people's beliefs and value systems. It is not.
It is not a legal obligation, but they're saying that in an understanding, for instance, knowing that to go to school, you require books to learn, or you require certain equipment to have an advanced education. In religion, it is governed by the holy text. That is the
But it's
central
only
thing of the
hope
entire
of the
thing.
people who believe in it.
Yes,
It's not hope
and
of
they
morality.
believe in that thing. It's like walking into someone's house and setting it on fire.
What if...
We should only be able to burn your own copy of the Bible, not other people's.
Why did you seek out to buy a book knowing the significance it has and burning that thing? You have an intention in doing that act.
Yeah,
that is
some form of
problematic.
protest.
If you want to criticize. If you want to mock. Satire, fine. But this is a very unique thing.
Well,
the Bible,
this is a serious
the Torah,
question, Lisa. Some people consider football clubs religions, especially Man United fans, as the infamous MUFC, the religion. So what happens if you go around... I mean, it's very sacred to them on a very religious level. What happens if you go around burning a Man United shirt? I mean, does that fall under the same blasphemy laws that you're supporting?
There are certain places that if I burned a Man United shirt, I probably wouldn't come home that night.
But that's not a good thing, is it?
That is not a good thing. But
you don't think the
I know,
cops
for
should
instance,
nick you for
I know that on Derby Day, I'm not going anywhere where they're Tottenham supporters because I support Arsenal. I just recognise
You're sat next to a Tottenham supporter.
Well, that's what we agreed, Lisa.
We must have free speech and we must be able to criticise a religious figure or a religion if we want to. As Mark says, we be courteous. I don't disrespect people's religion. They believe in it. That's good for them.
Criticise
But you have the right to offend people as well.
But do not violate me and do not be violent about it.
All right, I'm just concerned about Keir Starmer's response as well. Instead of nipping it in the bud and saying, absolutely not.
He does that with everything.
This is Great Britain.
Totally feeble.
I don't know who he's curtailing to or bowing down to, or, I mean, you mentioned maybe his Muslim voters, but, very, very concerning. I think Chopper, as I said tonight, did say Downing Street isn't planning any blasphemy laws. Wow, thank God for that. What a development.
Well, he should have said it there and then.
Should have said it in Parliament.